It's time for my final review of Czechia in Eurovision 2025. It's Adonxs singing Kiss Kiss Goodbye. We're going to watch his live performance from the second semi-final, see what went right, what went wrong, see if we can pick out what caused us to not qualify, and talk about what we could see from Czechia next year. So, let's kiki. Hi, my name is Tom, I'm an Irish Eurovision analyst, and you can find all this stuff on my Eurovision channel. So I'm continuing on my series where I review songs from the 2025 season. I am not being shadyboots.com, but I am actually going to watch the live performance from the actual second semi-final. In case you don't know, there were some mic issues. So the version that's uploaded to YouTube is a version that went better during the dress rehearsal. I'm going to react to the actual semi-final version. I'm not trying to be a shady bitch. I just want to see what people at home were watching. If this video had been completely taken down, I wouldn't be showing this, but it is still up on YouTube for people to see. So I want to get to the core of what actually happened, some of the technical errors that happened to really understand why this didn't qualify. If I need to make any changes to the visuals and the audio, I'll put the original up onto my Patreon. This is Adonxs, Kiss Kiss Goodbye from Czechia. Want to know my secret bang? Have to admit now, as an opening cut, that's not great. It's a little bit hard to see. I like this stylized mic, but it just covers too much of his face. I want to see more of like side-on silhouette or something building mystery. It's too mysterious. You can't see him. So it's more confusing than mysterious. The lighting there just could be a little bit, we're getting a little bit of coming on now, but at the start there, again, look, that mic is right up into his face. It's a bit confusing as well because it's making you think, what is this mic? Is it meant to symbolize something? That's better now. He just brings it down, you get him, but it should have been down low that whole time. It would have been nice to start with a side angle with some lighting. This long cinematic cut is cool though. Outfit-wise, I quite like what he's wearing. It's quite regal. It's got a drama to it. You know, the black and white staging, I don't massively get. We'd no hints of that in the music video. And we did have some other black and white stagings with Armenia, Parg, and also Austria, JJ, and also Montenegro, Nina Zic, and they all came before. So he was one of the later black and white stagings. I think he was the last one. Vocally, he's nervous there now. He's sung this much better in the pre-party and in the dress rehearsals as well. So just very unlucky that one of his weaker vocal performances came on the most important night. There's the extra pressure of televote-only semi-finals. If you have jury, you've got 2 nights to sing. It just really releases that pressure valve because you can sing well in the jury and then relax a little bit more in the televote. You still got those jury points coming in. Visually now we haven't really got much. It's just black and white behind it. It's a little bit abstract, it's a little bit bleak, slightly dystopian. There's no real story here. He's kind of been left on his own. The only real visually stimulating thing we have is this mic, which I think just is a little bit confusing. It makes me think of like a pineapple or something. Look at that background now. It's very stark. I don't know if it really fits with the vibe of the song. It reminds me of the memorial in Berlin, where you have all these different height buildings. And it's also giving a little bit of Harkonnen, a little bit of June. It's very severe. I don't know if it really matches with the song. Yeah, vocally he's just a little bit nervous. It just sounds a little bit, the timing isn't perfect. That just felt like a little bit too short there, just catching his breath coming into the first chorus. It feels like a little bit rushed, or the camera work there felt a little bit off coming in terms of a change-up. I think he just got a little bit of a shake up there. You can just see he's taking a little bit more control getting on top of the mic. Again, mic issues. Now, this is something that they complained about the whole week. They've been complaining about the mic. It wasn't working. It wasn't sounding correct. They were bringing up these concerns and they weren't being addressed. So this is something that they've been dealing with for quite a while. Nice little peekaboo there. I do like that moment where we had the dancer just popping up out of nowhere. There's something about it though. It's just, there's a nervousness, there's an anxiousness in the vocal. It just can't fully relax and enjoy into the performance because it's that feeling. As someone who really, really adores him, he's wonderful. It's really sad watching him not be able to get into a perfect flow and just ooze confidence, which I think the song needs. Sounds like he's rushing now through the verses. Little thing there, you just see his eyes looking to the side. It just makes you feel like something's not going right. This moment here is pretty. It doesn't feel like a massive payout for a long wait. We've had quite a lot of build up to lean in just this leaning thing. It's pretty though. It's got a dramatic feel to it. And you can hear he's a little bit behind now. He's realised that he's trying to catch up. And there's a quick kiss goodbye there, yeah. So from what I understand, I'm not sure if it was in-ear mic issues or something, there was a reverb, but this was something that they've been dealing with all week. This wasn't the first time this happened, and they have brought it up and they don't feel like it was dressed appropriately. This is just what I was told at the time. I think he's recovered pretty well now. That was that like small bit off. I don't know if it's enough to take people out of the mood. There were some smaller bits behind that. That was not the only bit off. There were some other bits that felt a little bit rushed and a little bit slow. So I wonder at this point, are some people at home just kind of like checked out, feeling like this is not a finished performance? Okay, let's go to the dance. Again, you can hear the crowd, you can hear the clapping, but you can't hear sight there. I feel like the lights makes it a little bit hard to see. It's very exhilarating. That flashing red lights is really fabulous. I don't know, I just would have preferred a couple of close-ups there. All of those were far away. I would have liked one close-up of his face. Just like one moment where he scowled into the camera or something. I also feel this is something I brought up when I did my original review. I hope they explain the dance break to people at home, because I don't really think that was explained at all. We have this melancholy, black and white, severe, austere imagery, and then we've just suddenly gone into a red dance break, and there's been no explanation why. It's too random. I feel like they needed to foreshadow the dance break. For example, have one of the dancers come on in red and he does something but is rejected, for example. And then the dance break is the red dancer coming back on and he taps him on the shoulder. I'm just literally making that up on the spot, but you get what I'm getting at. Symbolize the dance break in a person, a dancer wearing red. Get them to do something on the stage, be rejected, try to tempt Adonxs, but he can't be tempted, and then he eventually succumbs. Something like that. Something to just tie it in, because that is just random. You've got a white song, kind of ballady, some bassy vocals, and then you're just into a dance break. And I think people at home would just be like, what the hell? Eurofans, we love it. We love stuff like that. Not all of us. We love something random, dancey. This is one of my favorite dance breaks of all time. It's my second favorite dance break of all time after slow-mo. But I just don't think casuals are as patient and as understanding. And if they see something super random, they're just gonna be like, what is this? They don't want to spend mental energy trying to compute what's going on. Why does the microphone look like a pineapple? Why is there a dance break? As soon as they come to a mental hurdle, they just check out. This is a lovely image now. This walking sideways, and he looks more relaxed now. He's in time. I think you can hear clear. That background is stunning. This is a real wow moment. And I feel like this is getting maybe a few people back on board. That's gorgeous. This sounds so much cleaner. Now, this was the bit in the music video which was goopery goppery. When I saw this, it was absolute wowie. The CGI effect of him going through his history, whirling around through his past and in and out of his soul. Absolutely stunning. Let's see what they converted that to on the stage. It's a nice front up, and we've got his beautiful vocal, but again, we're just back to these kind of slightly hard to discern abstract black and white visuals. And you look at them, they're quite slow and lazy, so it's not giving climax to the song. The camera angles are one. I originally thought that they were going to put him on a pedestal and the camera was going to whirl around him, just like in the music video. And instead, we're getting a flash front on with some slow moving abstract imagery. This is an error of staging, in my opinion. They've just picked the wrong mood. Again, that it's meant to be a wow moment now, this high vocal. I want to see close-ups of his face. I always felt that whirl, that swirl. I want to see the camera running around him with the body cam. I think they made the wrong choice. This is a nice bit. That's a nice bit now. That's something. But that's one idea just for one small part. I wanted something like this for the whole 30 seconds. This should have been like the wow, oh my God moment of the entire contest, not just the semi-final. And it just totally under-delivered in its wow impact. That's pretty there. This kind of look where the lights are almost like curtains. Too many pans out, not enough close-ups of his face. Okay. He's handling well at the end now. He's not angry. You don't see any, like, sometimes when you see people have mic issues, their immediate reaction when the song is over is looking for somebody to strangle. And he's not. He's very humble. He's a really, really wonderful person. Let's talk about what went right and what went wrong. Right, I think the costume was very nice. I like that. I thought the dance break looked cool. There are a couple of really elegant moments, particularly that moment when he's walking forward, the cameras on the side looked really, really gorgeous. Dancers' costumes were nice. The dancers did a good job. The biggest issue for me is that this visually is weaker than the music video. The music video had so much storytelling in it. It had colors, it had a theme, it had that 70s, 80s, the Americans, these kind of pastel earthy colors. And then we go into this and it's just black and white. It's just not giving a story in the same way that the music video was just full of story. It was non-stop story. We had him on the treadmill. We had him being given an injection, making the decision to go back 30 years to revisit his father. There was so much going on and we had no story there at all. If you did not know what the song was about, there's no way that you could guess from that staging because we had an abstract background. We had a dance break that came out of nowhere that was not explained. There was no explanation of what the song is, the depth of the meaning. This is a very personal song about the relationship between him and his father. That just didn't come across. For me, this is fundamentally a staging fail. So I know that some people are going to say that he didn't qualify because of the vocals, but I think it was a staging fail. I think it was wrong color palette, wrong mood. There was no storytelling. There was no characters in it. They didn't explain anything on the LED. There were no words. Just pretty. It's pretty and elegant, but just not enough substance. I had warnings about this. So I think my biggest realization warning was the jury show, which would have been on the Wednesday night. And the fact that this was just played and it just didn't get a reaction in the press room. So just people just didn't register it. Usually with songs, you can see people looking at the screen or afterwards there's a clap or there's a gasp. And this was just a song people were working through. They were continuing on whatever work they're doing. A couple of people looking, no claps, no reaction. And that was the point I was like, oh, sugar, this is not going down well. And if you follow me on Twitter, you will have seen I kind of went into panic mode a little bit on Saturday and I started posting things saying to vote for him because I knew that this was going to be in trouble. I still thought it was going to make it through. I'm not going to BS you. I thought that it would possibly just scrape through in 10th from the strength of the song. We actually saw this year that song is more important than staging. But I think the final nail in the coffin was those live vocals. When I was standing in the arena and saw the lateness, I was like, okay, this is out now. So yeah, really, really disappointing. But I think if this had better staging, even with the vocals off, I still think it would have made it through. The music video was so much better. If you haven't watched the music video, go watch it. It's really fun, interesting, evocative, fabulous storytelling, fabulous world building. This had no world. What was this world? Doing a dance break outside Giddy Prime, it's just not enough of a story for a song that has so much story as well. So I'm surprised because Czechia's staging is usually so good. My Sister's Crown by Vesna was fabulous staging. People were worrying about them and then they came out and absolutely killed it and came 10th. Miklas Josef's staging was wonderful. Benny Christo's staging was a mess, but I don't know what happened there. That whole thing was just a big hot mess. Friend of a Friend had really, really strong imagery and that tied in with the music video as well. It had a similar feel to the music video. So I don't know what happened here. I don't know if they worked with a new production team or if there was a conflict of interest, but they just went down the wrong path right from the beginning. This was like a fork in the road at the very early stages of deciding what the staging would feel like. And instead of saying, let's try and put the music video onto stage, they went in a completely separate route of abstract and elegant. And that for me was the moment when this didn't qualify. I did a post on Twitter asking people what did their casual friends and family think about the performance. Let's go check out some of the results. Jay says, my brother said he hit behind the pillow after he's missed his vocal and texted me after saying he's so cooked, bro. I think it really just disrupted the flow in the middle. Can't remember how they reacted to it. That's also not a good sign. That's kind of similar to what I felt in the press room where there just wasn't really a reaction. Don't know about casuals, but this wasn't still my top 5 songs of the year, but it was just so white. Bad styling choices made. Yeah, I don't get the white and black LEDs. I can get it at the start, giving a little bit of despair, but it went throughout the whole thing. It's a very bold decision to just sap all the color out of the staging. It has to really add to it. Why is he wearing so much makeup? Is this a dance contest or a song contest? What's the black thing in his mic stand? So yeah, distracting the mic stand. Well, sadly for Adonxs, he followed Sisal, whose performance we were still all hyped about because she sounded so flawless and perfect. So we didn't pay much attention to his performance. And keep in mind, Jazzer is from Denmark. I think the vocal aspect of that comment really does stand out, where you've got someone like Sisal who's just flawless, and then it's followed by Adonxs and he's got some vocal blips. It just highlights it even more. The other thing was, this was nothing to do with his running order in general though, because he was one of only 2 males in the second half of the semi-final, the other one being Serbia, who also didn't qualify. Definitely stood out demographically. I actually said in my running order analysis video that this was a very, very fortunate draw for them. Casuals liked it overall, but pitied him for missing his cue. Also were confused about the random dance break out of nowhere in what could have been a good ballad. Also, the staging was meh. Yeah, there was very little staging. There was a little bit of choreo, the blurry effect, which looked cool, but nothing like the climax that I expected. Me remember the acoustic performance from Malta and was sad that they didn't just do that. Some people think that was better staging in Malta, and I think the music video was better. That's a little bit of Eurovision crime. Your Eurovision staging should not be worse than the previous performances you put out. Everyone said it was okay, not bad, not good. Liked his voice, but the unnecessary dance break turns him off, and he was overshadowed by other performances around him, Denmark and Luxembourg. Oh, Luxembourg came after him. So he really got sandwiched between 2 performances which just went flawlessly. So that's a little bit of a death sandwich. Really liked the song and loved his voice, but were disappointed in his voice cracks and timing issues. Actually liked the dance break and didn't find it off-putting. Okay, so someone giving an alternative perspective there. It just passed by. They didn't like the song except for one girl, and no one liked the staging. That's not a good sign. My Czech colleague thought it was absolute something. They liked the song actually and were sad it didn't qualify. They also felt sorry for him that he missed the cue at the start of the second chorus. Every single person I talked to called both the song and the performance a tragedy. My brother said it was nothing burger. I can't remember a single reaction while we were watching this, so that should tell you everything. Unanimously said it was fine, but meh, a bit forgettable. They all said the dance break didn't make sense. He's off tune, off beat, and confused at the same time. Overall, there's just a sense of panic in his face. The timing, he just wasn't enjoying himself. As we want to see him in his best, just flowing, living for the moment on stage. And I'm so sad that he didn't get to have that. Good singer, but he lost the track and the dance break made 0 sense. He was one of the favourites for my girlfriend and she fell in love with his voice on first listen. She didn't notice the mistake he had and was sad when he didn't qualify. Gay. Now, this is another aspect is, I wonder if there's a small kind of anti-queer feeling right now. We saw a lot of the songs that had a queer identity. Cyprus, I'm not saying that he is queer, I'm just saying the song had a kind of queer presentation. And then this, and then also Belgium. None of them qualified. You know, whenever I say that, people say, oh, well, Conchita. 2014, we're going through very much like left-leaning political period. And now we're very much in a right. We go through eras, ebbs and flows, everything being more open and then going back to being more conservative. This is something that's studied in political circles. And right now we're in the middle of a kind of right-wing peak. And I think that 2014 was just a more accepting period. Conchita had this underdog story, this vulnerability on stage. One of the few instances where I can say Marvin Dietman really got the staging right. So this year, I think we saw that songs that had a strong queer identity just didn't do well. And I think that could just be indicative of the period that we're in politically. The consensus was that there was a bit of a disconnect between the song and his performance. He seemed to be nervous and too much in his head. And when he missed the cue in the second chorus, everyone went, he's going home. Attractive singer, average song, dance break broke the flow of the song, confusing. They lolled and laughed and looked at their phones. They all really liked it and voted for it. Grandad was adamant it wasn't going through though. What was that outfit? Was giving musty vibes and we all know how that ended. Something more simple and less messy would have worked better. My mom did like him. Way too repetitive and got boring and a bit cringe. They also didn't understand the dance break and said it was very weird. He looked and sounded nervous and it made the performance an uncomfortable experience. You know, I watched something like Luxembourg and Denmark. The 2 songs are the song and you can just totally relax watching them because everything goes smoothly. You're not feeling any anxiety for the performer. They're just in their element. And we just didn't get to see Adonxs do his version of that. Thank you to everyone who left the comments. Okay, so where do we go next for Czechia? Well, first of all, let's see if they even confirm they are one of the countries who don't have huge national support for being in the contest. They have to fight tooth and nail every year just to get the funding to participate. I really hope we see them back because I think they have a fabulous point of view. There were errors made this year, but generally I think that they do much better than they should, considering they have very little public support and they don't have a huge amount of funds. So I think there's a lot of passion and innovation in the Czech delegation, and I really don't want to miss them. They do tend to give something a little bit different, a little bit edgier, sometimes a bit rocky. So I really hope that CT are back in the contest next year, but it's not confirmed yet. I'm not taking it for guaranteed at all. If you're Czech, please message them and say that you want to see them there next year. I think this is quite a big blow because this is arguably the biggest person they've ever sent, and he didn't qualify. I think there's going to be a slight sense of nihilism after this, like we sent one of our best people and that didn't even qualify. You know, this is 2 non-qualifications in a row, but they need to remember that Vesna came 10th, Lake Malawi came 11th and should have been 10th, but they were given a really bad running order. 6 for Miklas Josef. So they've got really good results. They can do well. They get 0 points for free. That is an issue, but they've made it top 11 3 times since 2018. So it is possible. I really hope that we see them back. I would be devastated to lose them. And if we did lose them, how long will it take for them to return to the contest? If we see them back, I'm happy with either method. This is not one of the countries I feel very strongly for in internal selection or national panel. There's some countries where I'm like, no, you definitely should be one or the other. Czechia feels like one of those countries in the middle where I'm happy for them to do either. Go internal if it's someone, a big enough artist who's got a solid package. Otherwise, go for the national final, ESCZ, which usually is one of the earlier ones in the year. I'm happy with either. For me, the most important thing is just make it happen. We want to see Czechia in Vienna. One small thing is that it's not too far from Vienna, so that might reduce the costs a little bit. They do share a border. It's only a 4-hour drive from Prague to Vienna, so they could go in a van. They don't even need to rent a hotel technically. So I really hope that we see them next year in Vienna. Okay, what did you think about Adonxs' performance? Kisses, goodbye. Leave me a comment in the comment section down below. Thank you to those supporting me on PayPal and Buy Me Coffee. If you want to support the channel, leave a QR code for you here and a link in the description. Thanks to my patrons for patronizing me from all around the world, especially in the off season. It's vital to keep the channel alive. Thank you for being here. Hope to see you in another Eurovision video soon. Goodbye.